Ah, yes, that is the glorious sound of some new theme music here on the Saluki Standards Podcast. This week, it is a game show edition, or an Around the Horn edition of the Saluki Standards Podcast with the Saluki football quarterbacks. I'm your host, Connor Onion, and this week we'll interview Stone Labanowitz and Kare Lyles, the Saluki football quarterbacks, but they'll compete. Points will be awarded for their answers. These two want to get into sports media. We'll discuss Saluki football topics, some NBA topics, and it will be competitive and it will be informative. Before we get started, let's meet our contestants. First, quarterback from Madison, Wisconsin, Kare Lyles.
My name is Kare Lyles. Play quarterback here. This is my second year at Southern Illinois. Currently in a grad program here, professional media management. But really want to go into sports media. Don't know if that's in the journalism or in the broadcast booth yet, but really what kind of interested me with all this has just always been listening to different guys on ESPN and FS1, the Colin Cowherds and the Skip Baylesses of the world and everything, and just listening to them and think that's pretty interesting.
And our other contestant who will be joining us beachside in his Florida home, Stone Labanowitz.
I mean, I've always been into the sports media, and I think if 2020's taught us anything, it's that sports rule the world. You're an Eagles fan, and they go on a 3-game winning streak. I mean, that's the best month of your life. And there's not a lot out there that can do that other than sports. I always talk about to buddies and stuff having jobs and the stress levels of the job. Just imagine walking into a studio with a coffee in your hand at 8 o'clock, just ready to talk sports with your guys and stuff. It seems so cool to me, and it's definitely something I want to pursue when I get out and I study mass communications and minor in electronic sports media.
11 questions, 11 points to dish out. 2 worthy contestants and 1 worthy winner. On the Saluki Standards Podcast Game Show Edition, it's Stone Labanowitz against Kare Lyles. For people who have seen long-haired Stone, this would be a very different look. The buzz cut has come out during the pandemic, and I barely recognized you.
Yeah, no, it was quarantine. Quarantine beat me, that's for sure.
I got to say, too, for people that can't see, the tiki hut that you're in right now, it looks like you kind of belong on, like, the Lebron show or something like that, being down there.
Hey, look, this is my Lebron look. I found these right here, but I was going to go Lebron style with these.
So you're
right out here.
Lebron then.
Seriously, because I'm sitting right here by the water. No, I'm under my little tiki hut. This is my spot.
I love it. Well, let's get moving. Here's the concept that you guys helped come up with. We had a little group message that was buzzing a couple of weeks ago. These guys had some great ideas. What we settled on is kind of like an around the horn concept. I'll be the cheap version of Tony Reali. These guys will be the contestants, and we'll go through some topics. Each contestant will have 30 seconds to a minute to answer, and with each topic, we'll award a winner, and whoever has the most points at the end is today's champion. So, all right, topic number 1 is the Saluki football win versus Semo. And first question, the hardest part of preparing for that game during a pandemic. Stone Labanowitz, you're on the clock.
I'd have to go with the basic answer here. I don't want to overthink it or anything, but I think the uncertainty. I think me and Kare know this best being junior college graduates. I mean, you just don't know what's coming. I mean, a lot of times we go to bed in junior college and you don't know where you're going to be in the future. And that was I had the same kind of feeling, throughout those 3 months preparing for Semo. We weren't even sure if we were going to play Semo. So it's tough being out there on a practice field on a Wednesday at 6 a.m., battling fatigue and just your mental's going all over the place. And you don't even know who you're preparing for. Coaches breaking down film for us and whatnot of teams we think we're going to play. We don't know what we've heard. They have COVID positives and whatnot. So just going to bed at night, not knowing whether we're going to compete on that date that we said we were going to and whatnot. I just think that was tough for a lot of us in the locker room. Just, hey, what are you thinking? What do you think? What do you think? And just hearing a lot of different things. Coach Hill not necessarily knowing what was going to happen because he's our leader and he was telling us, and whatever he said we went with. And a lot of times there wasn't anything to go with. So that was tough, honestly, to battle with just not being certain what was going to happen in the future.
Kare Lyles, you're up. Hardest part of preparing during the pandemic for Semo?
I think it was just the unfortunate thing is keep on stopping and going. We'll go and, we came in, both me and Stone came in June to start working on summer workouts, and then we stopped. And it felt like there would be 3 weeks that we'll be going and have really good progression, and then just stop. And then we'll have another 3 weeks, and then something would happen. So just be this ongoing process that it was just things that we couldn't control. And it's things that just aren't unnatural in the preparation process of being a college football player. When you're a quarterback, everything it's all a mental game. And on top of, reading coverages and making sure that you're leading guys in the right way and coming to practice prepared, you also had this kind of thing that was just lingering in your head about this, the pandemic, and there's certain factors that you didn't have to worry about, in 2019 or 2018, pretty much your whole life playing quarterback. So it's now how do you factor that in, and how do you still do the things and have the intangibles of, playing the position, and also, making sure that we're ready to go against, our rival opponent who we've been 0-2 in the last 2 years. So just little things like that. And it's really just, making sure like, okay, now we have something that seems like it's pretty concrete. Now, how do we take advantage of it? And, going forward, how do we get a win off of it?
I think we're going with the odds-on favorite on the first topic. 2.5-point favorite, Stone Labanowitz. The point about not knowing who you guys would play, was it Semo? Was it not going to be Semo? I thought that was the part that pushed it over the top. This is a monarchy too, so there's nobody to check me. I'm going with Stone.
I like it.
I'm going with Stone for the first one, the 2.5-point favorite heading into this.
But hey, Tony Reality's job's hard too. All right, he don't get no love. He gets hated on all the time. You're good. I'll take it. Let's go.
I need the buttons to mute you guys.
I know. I was ready for you to have a little something, a little ding.
Maybe I'll add those in the post edit.
Yeah.
After we record. But staying with topic one, Saluki football's win on October 30th against Southeast Missouri State. The next question is, why did the Salukis end up winning this game? We'll start with Kare.
I think the biggest difference that you saw as a team is, and we saw it in our 5-game win streak last year, is the ability to stay together, stay within the team and just trusting the process. And I think that, when we would go into certain situations in that game where it would be a sudden change, I don't think guys really wavered. And they didn't question whether or not we're going to get through with a win or not. I think that because I wasn't here in 2018 or the previous years, that, it was a struggle here at the program. And I think that when I'm talking to a lot of the guys, that was one of the cases where it didn't feel like it was one big unit. And when things were unfortunate, I think it really took control of the team. So I think that with the situations that happened in Semo, we took advantage of every single time that we had a turnover. The 2 turnovers that we had, if you look back on it, we came back and scored that previous drive. And you look at the last drive when we were all in it, when we were all in that huddle together. And I think that we just had a positive mindset going with that. And we had a positive play, each one of those plays going in, leading up to Nico's game-winning kick. So it's just, it's not always going to look pretty, but at the same time, you just know that we're all together and we're all one unit. And really, I think that's what set us over the edge. And I think that's what we can carry over, going into this spring season.
Stone Labanowitz, you are on the clock. Why did the Salukis end up beating Semo?
I think for the first time in a few years, we went into a game as the favorite. And Coach preached on that, last 5 games of the season. Like, hey, you guys need to start playing like you're supposed to win this game. Like, this is your guys' game. We're the better roster. We're probably the better coaches. And this is how you guys need to play. We need to stop going into these games with all this optimism and stuff. Like, we were a 10-point favorite against Semo. Now, that's awesome. Now, that's one of our biggest rivals we're going to play all season long. And to tell us we're a 10-point favorite should be all we need, because that's what we should be. With who we have on the roster and how we finished the season off last year, I mean, they shouldn't beat us. And I think for the first time, for all 60 minutes, that game was ours. Even going down into halftime, I don't think we really even swayed. I think we knew that it was going to be us who won the game and us who lost the game. It was going to have nothing to do with Semo. And that's kind of, I mean, that's not what it was when we were 2-9 and stuff. We were kind of going out onto the field hoping we were going to win games and hoping we were going to play well. But I don't think we think like that anymore. I think we've totally switched our mindset that we're going to go out there and play hard, fly around, and make mistakes at full speed. And that's something you hear a lot. But I think you see that coming into it a little bit. I think Kare and the receivers and the running backs, I don't think we really care about busting certain plays or anything like that. You know, it's really on to the next play. And that's, like I said, it wasn't how it was years past and everything, but Coach preached it a long time. And I loved it. I fell in love with just the concept of playing as the favorite. Go out there. You guys are supposed to win this game. And if that means anything, then go win this game because it's in your guys' control. It's nothing to do with Semo. It's going to have nothing to do with South Dakota State come February. It's just all on us. And I think we played like that, kind of a chip on our shoulder, and I don't think it's going to get off. So I think that's probably it.
I was motivated.
Can I just say one quick thing? This isn't, don't count this minute, but I just want to say one more thing going into that that was big that I want to give credit to Stone is that if you look within each position group, I think everybody supported one another. I think when I look back and when we're going through the whole situation of that game, I mean, Stone, Nick, and Zach would all come back to me and give me, you know, a positive assessment of what happened that drive. And I think you don't really see that with a lot of programs, especially the ones who have, you know, unfortunate situations that happen to them. You know, I think if you look at all the winning programs, they have that camaraderie and it goes into the game. And I think that was one of the biggest differences with me that I really didn't have without coming here. Is having that chemistry with the guys and having Stone come up to me and be like, hey, look, did you see that coverage? Did you see this certain situation? And then now that in the next drive, we capitalized on it. On the third downs, we capitalized. I mean, we converted on so many third and longs where I really truly feel that last year, you know, in the losing stretch that we didn't just because we weren't on the same page. But I think that when I would get off the sideline and, you know, hearing from Stone and Nick and all of them and making sure that I'm seeing the same thing that they're seeing, we will come out the next drive and we would actually execute. So there's something else I wanted to bring in there.
That was a late Hail Mary to try to steal the point.
No.
Those are excellent points that you both made. I'm edging towards Stone on this one because of the 10-point favorite comment. Playing as a favorite and that being different from years past, I think that pushed Stone over the edge. I like the effort on the Hail Mary, Kare.
That was not I was just giving credit to so
No, I know. No, that was good stuff. I'm sure fans will appreciate that. But I hate to break it to you. The 2.5-point favorite is up 2 points after 2 questions.
I hope fans appreciate it, but you still lost that one. So
okay, question 3 about the Semo game. We'll start with you, Kare. What, in your opinion, was the best offensive moment for your unit in that game?
Best offensive moment, man. I would say that drive where Javon. He had that big touchdown run. It was after the drive that we had another turnover. And really what set us apart that drive that really helped, and I think probably went under the radar a little bit, is who converted that third down catch, and that was Branson Combs. You know, Branson is a freshman receiver. You know, Branson didn't really get a ton of first-team reps going into this whole season. And he was one of the guys who actually came down with me in Carbondale a couple of times during the summer, and he would make the 4-hour drive from Indiana, and then I would make the 7-hour drive from Wisconsin, and we would come down, and, you know, Avante and Deontay will come down too, and we would all have a throwing session throughout the summer. And, you know, it's funny because we probably had 20-plus hour sessions in the Carbondale heat, and you know, you're just always, I can tell with Branson, it's like, when is this going to pay off? When is this going to pay off? And, you know, ironically, that in that moment, you know, that's his first snap. It's a 3rd down and 14, I believe, and we run this play as a 7-step bang post, and it's straight up timing. The route is straight up timing, and it's his first catch, and boom! I mean, he converts it. It's a low throw. It's in the middle of 3 guys, and he converts the first down. That's his first real live rep, I believe, in college, and he capitalized on it. And then going forward after that, I think it was 2 more plays where Javon had that big touchdown run. But I think it was just seeing that what Branson and a couple of those guys that you don't really know what they're capable of going into like a live situation. Seeing him capitalize on that, really made me that probably was my favorite play of the whole game.
Stone Labanowitz, you're on the clock. The best offensive moment for the Salukis in the win against Semo.
I love that he brought up that Branson play because I do think it kind of uplifted everybody on the sideline and gave us like a fresh, slap in the face. Let's go. But honestly, thinking about the game and, where it really changed and flipped as far as what kind of plays we made on offense, I think it was that last drive. I don't know if it was 2nd or 3rd down, but we had a run tag on, and on most of our run plays, of course, I mean, any football team, it's the same, but your inside receivers and outside receivers usually have, backside bubbles or backside hitches. It's all depending on what we see as quarterbacks, if we have certain leverage we want and everything. I don't know if it was 2nd or 3rd down, but we're in our own territory and trying to play it safe, but trying to go win a football game at the same time. And Gray decided to not hand it off, and he squeezed the bubble out there to Avante Cox. I think it was like 2nd and 9. And it's the moment, it was a perfect toss in stride. Avante catches it, makes the dude miss. And as soon as you see that he made that dude miss and he was going to go pick up 20-plus yards and put us in plus territory, I think when you watched him cross that 50-yard line, like the whole sideline was like, oh, crap, we're about to go win this game. And I think that was the first moment that everyone was able to just take a sigh of relief, just to, we're going to win this game. Like, watch this. Here we go. And it wasn't like that in minus territory. When the minus 45, fingers crossed, don't make a mistake. Let's be smart, do something. And he caught that ball in stride and took it. And like I said, when he crossed that 50, it was like, oh, yeah, we're going to win this game, whether we kick it or whether we score it. I mean, I think that play was kind of everyone's like jumping, giddy, what's the next play? Everyone's looking at Coach Hill. Even the defensive kids don't know what the signals are. They're like, Coach, what are you going to call? What are you going to call? And Rome, we kept pounding it to Rome. We got down there, and Nico did the rest. But I remember that bubble, just everyone, you're kind of grimacing a little bit. Oh, he caught it, and he goes. It's like, there we go. We're going to win this game. I just loved. I mean, like I said, that's not supposed to happen on that play. Percentage-wise, probably throw that ball 20% of the time. And in the biggest moment of the game, he squeezed it out there, and it ended up paying off. We won. So I love that play. That bubble to Avante was pretty cool.
You both have me feeling like it's October 30th again. You put me in the moment beautifully. That's good stuff. Taking us inside the specific play with Branson Combs, giving a little background on that, I think that's going to push Kare over the edge.
Nice.
So we got Stone with 2, Kare with 1. Kare is on the board after 3 questions.
Yeah, baby.
All right, moving on to topic 2, Saluki football program building. We're going to start with the playoffs last year, a tough day for the program, having the watch party, not getting into the playoffs. We'll start with, I think it's Stone's turn to start, an argument for why SIU should have been in the 2019 FCS playoffs.
I think there's a couple. I wonder how much stock is put into momentum, but come on, we're riding a 5-game winning streak. And if you turn on the tape to go play the team who's inevitably going to win the national championship, or is at least going to get there every year, 7-7 at halftime, right? That was a ball game. We were in a ball game. They were playing at Saluki Stadium, and I know darn sure they didn't think they were going to win that game at times during that game. So to watch us play how we played against North Dakota State on top of a 5-game winning streak, I thought, you respect momentum in a sense. And then, 2, if you want to get into the teams that go in and everything, you let Furman in. Furman gets stomped by Austin Peay. You let North Dakota in, which are like questionable ends, is what Twitter was saying and what we're all saying, right? Because their records and whatnot. We let Furman in, they get stomped. North Dakota goes in and gets stomped. And, I mean, Kare can attest to this, but we watch a lot of Austin Peay film. I mean, they're on our film a lot of the time. We see them. Whether it's their offense or defense, we kind of get a feel of, we kind of know what team they are. And, I mean, that's who we were going to play. I think that was our matchup. I just thought we were going to get more respect off the momentum. And as far as matchup goes, that we would have put up a bigger fight than Furman was going to. And I think you should have been able to see that. But that was unfortunate. And just my least favorite part, all of our least favorite part, was being on ESPN. They showed the Saluki dogs in a try box, the 3 bubble teams, and we were the one of the 3 teams that didn't get in. That hurt the worst. And one of the teams who was sitting right there went and got waxed. So that kind of stung a little bit. But yeah, I mean, I just thought we were going to get a little bit more respect, as did a lot of people. I mean, it's pretty controversial. I mean, going on Twitter and some of the talk shows and everything, a lot of people thought we should have been in.
Yeah, the try box was a little cruel, wasn't it?
It was so cruel.
Kare Lyles, why should the Salukis have made the playoffs in 2019?
Okay, so Stones took my first thing I was going to say is momentum, but it's definitely a momentum thing. And I think that it's probably just the age-old debate, especially with, you see like the college football playoffs is the SEC and just the strength of conference. And I think just when you ride that out and you just see that we're in the toughest conference in the FCS, and when you have a 5-game winning streak in the toughest conference, I think that should say a lot to, push ourselves over the edge and getting into the playoffs. And if you also look at a bunch of our games, who we lost to, I mean, we lost to Illinois State, South Dakota State, Arkansas State, and North Dakota State. All by, and I think it was really a margin of, it was a 1-possession game, I think, in each of those games going into like the last 2 to 3 minutes of this game. So, I mean, we're even driving down to North Dakota State, and if we hit that touchdown in the 4th and 1 with Javon, that's 21-14. And if you look at the Illinois State game, I mean, I think it was 17-7 going into in the middle of the 4th quarter. So all those, and then in South Dakota State, I mean, we were winning 10-7 in the halftime, and I think it ended up really being a 1-possession game leading up to the 4th quarter too. So if you look at all those games, we were, just 1 possession short. But I think that once we started getting our momentum going in, carrying into that 5-game win streak, you really just saw that, okay, now we can do this in the toughest conference in the in FCS, as well as, you look at opponents that we could have faced, and I think we definitely had an advantage towards them. So I understand that it's a little bit of, you can only have so many per conference, but at the same time, I think if you didn't look at that, and you just looked at who is the best teams going into this, without a doubt, I thought that we were one of the best teams going into that and going into the playoffs. And I thought that we should have, because I truly believe we would have had a great run in that playoffs too. And you see that just the change in going from 2-9 to 7-5. And also, if you just look at it, I mean, we have guys on that team who have a lot of talent. I mean, Avante Cox is one of the best receivers. So when you have this, so when you're going into the playoffs, you have Avante Cox, one of the best receivers in the country. You have Jeremy Chin, who's probably going to be one of the best safeties going into NFL, in a couple of years. You have DJ Davis, who's considered one of the best running backs in the country. You have Xavier Furcon, who is one of the best guards in the country. So you have all these guys who are in those kind of races of being the best in their position. It's like, you want to see that. This is all entertainment in the end. So I definitely thought that we would be a way more entertaining team going into the playoffs than maybe some of these other opponents.
I like that.
This is a tough, I think this is our toughest one so far. This is, I think this is the advantage of going first. That's what I'm finding. For the sake,
oh my God!
I think for the sake of originality, Stone wins this one. But almost the late come. I did like the example with the race for being the best positions in the country. That was really good stuff.
I agree.
So, moral victory there for Kare.
Take that one. Come on.
If I could give out half points, I would. We're going to skip down one. We're talking Saluki football program building, and the score is Stone Labanowitz 3, Kare Lyles 1 in our battle of the quarterbacks. We're going to skip We're gonna skip one down the list. You guys didn't come out of high school straight into the Saluki program, but put yourself in the shoes of you guys. If you guys are 18 years old right now, again, if you're a high school recruit, why should you want to play for Coach Hill and Saluki football? Kare Lyles, you're up first.
Okay, so I definitely think one of the things going into it is youth. I think that he gives, kind of that new age of coaching that you see a lot in football is just, younger coaches having that head coaching job. I think that it gives a certain type of energy and just, it's just a new person. It's a new voice that you're hearing. And, they're kind of learning it the same way that you're learning and you're processing. And I think really one of the biggest things I've been fortunate to be with a lot of, winning programs and, a lot of successful coaches in my life, and I think the biggest thing that separates a lot of them as far as the head coaching position is, are you willing to leave your office door open? And that doesn't mean whatever you're doing at any moment's notice, you have a certain guy, whether he's the starting quarterback or the fourth string tackle, coming in and asking for advice or just talking about something, and you give that player an opportunity to go in and talk to you. And I think that's the biggest thing that you see with Coach Hill is, he's always empathetic towards his players. He's always he's always willing to listen. And I think that's one of the biggest things. He has to keep the structure of the program intact. And doing that, one of the things that you have to do is you have to listen to your players. And I think he does a great job with that. And that's really all you have to do, all you want from your head coach is he willing to listen? And is he willing to have a conversation with you? Because it's all really predicated towards you, at the end of the day, with your performance and how you prepare, with your success on the field. But off the field, it's like, is your relationship strong with them? And I think that Coach Hill does a good job with really just having those one-on-one conversations. After every single kind of off-season program, or even and after the season, we have these one-on-one conversations with him. I mean, we have 5 of those per year. So, he has that with 105 players on his team. Not a lot of coaches do that. And, I've been with 4 programs, and I would say he's one of 2 who have done that. And you see why that we're having the success that we're having, and also where I was at previously, why they have so much success. So it's really, you see that it's kind of a consistency with that. It's just having those one-on-one conversations.
Stone Labanowitz, you're a high school recruit. Why would you sign on to play with Coach Hill?
I think he's 32, 33 years old, however old he is, and he's original. I mean, he's not your basic coach. I think he's just so in tune to the game. Like, he knows who he is. He's so confident. He's got a certain swagger about him. But like I said, he's in tune to the game. Like, he knows just as much pop culture as we do. I mean, what do we care about nowadays? Call of Duty, and video games, stuff like that. And he's able to tic-tac with those kinds of things. And just compare it to going to, like, Georgia Tech and playing for Paul Johnson, or even going on a visit or whatever. And it's like, you can't really relate to this dude. So you're not going to have that relationship. Like, there's always going to be a gap. There's no gap with Coach Hill. He knows, and he's sitting at midfield watching a practice. He knows probably why Calvin's not practicing that well today. He knows why. He knows exactly why. And I don't think a lot of coaches or programs can kind of say the same thing. I just love how he knows us individually so well. Like, I've only been to a junior college career. He's been to a few other schools and stuff, so he knows more how it goes as far as coaching staffs and whatnot. But like I said, he's just so close to us individually. I think that it plays a big role in how hard we play for him and whatnot. And I think as he pushes a lot of the same stuff. And I think it's starting to make sense to a lot of us. And I don't think he's swayed, hasn't backed down from anything he said, even through 2020. I mean, this season's been a mess, and he stayed true. As far as a recruit being a young kid, I mean, if you're coming to Southern, you probably got a little twang to you. I mean, a lot of our kids on our team hunt at his house. And I mean, come on, who does that? Like that, not a lot of people, have that opportunity to hunt with their head coach at a Division I college. That's cool stuff. What I mean? And he means that. That's not fake. He means that. We went to his house the other day and we're golfing. Like, he set up a little golf thing. We're whacking golf balls. And this all sounds basic. You see Saban take his guys out on the lake, but I mean, shoot, you're probably not going to get as close to a coach in FCS as Coach Hill. And he tells me all the time, it's funny, I'm kind of out there with what I want to say, and I don't really hold anything back. And it's kind of a good thing and a bad thing, a blessing and a curse. But he yelled at me the other day, a couple months ago. I was like, dude, the stuff we talk about, he's talking to me and him. He's like, the stuff we talk about, the stuff you say to me wouldn't fly anywhere else. It would not. He goes, you know that, right? And I'm like, I do know that and stuff. And it's just like, I mean, I put so much stock into that. I love that. I can say what I feel like I want to say. And I know it's coming right back at me. No hesitation. And I just think that I can trust him and believe what he's doing, because he's just, like I said, he's one of us. Almost, he feels like a teammate in all the right sense. We still respect him as a head coach and everything like that, but he's young, he's got flair, he wears Jordans, he thinks he's cool, he's dorky. It's, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's a thin line, and we all walk on it for all the right reasons. I mean, I love it.
Nick Hill, cool dad. Got it.
Cool dad. I bet he would hate hearing that. That makes him sound old, but yeah, cool dad.
No, you guys threw it in there that he's youthful. Both of you guys.
Oh yeah.
You pointed out the youth. I thought it's interesting that Paul Johnson doesn't play Call of Duty.
You're going first, right?
That was shocking. Shocking that Paul Johnson doesn't play Call of Duty. Yeah, we're going with our whoever goes first bias here. I think the open door policy was one that sold me with Kare's answer. So that brings it to a 1-point game. Stone with 3 points, Kare with 2, and we're about halfway through looking at a photo finish here. All right, let's move on to the next one. Who is the funniest player on the Saluki football team and why? We will go with Stone Labanowitz first. Funniest player on the Saluki football team and why? Stone, you're up.
This one's tough, but I got the 2 winners. I'll go 2. No, I'll go with 1, but I'll give the 2. It's either center Calvin Francis or running back Javon Williams.
Dang it!
And I knew I was going to beat him to the punch, but come on, those are the 2 funniest kids I think I've ever met. And it's not necessarily that we laugh at what they're saying; we laugh at them. And it happens so often. Cal never thinks about what's going to come out of his mouth. It just flies. It just flows. Same thing with Javon. Javon, half the time you don't know what he's talking about, and half the time you think he has no clue what he's talking about. But he's just so pure, so natural. I mean, God, I don't really know if I can give up some of the stories. But there's just so many good ones. Calvin, if people knew Calvin would be their favorite player on the team. Any Saluki fans listening, Calvin Francis needs to be your guys' favorite player because he's all of our favorite player. So I'm going to, instead of Javon, I'll go Calvin because all Calvin does, his job is to play football at Southern and put smiles on people's faces, and that's all he does. I mean, he doesn't care if Coach Meade could be yelling and being serious. Calvin's going to bust a joke and get yelled at. But he's still going to work out really hard in that session. It's just, he just doesn't care. He knows who he is. He knows we love him. But Calvin's got to be top 5 funniest kids I've ever met.
All right, Kare Lyles, funniest player on the team. Sounds like your answer was stolen, but let's see what you can come up with.
All right, I had a backup. All right, so you ever heard about the whole thought of the guy who's the quietest? Usually, he might be the guy that you don't want to mess with. I think that Anthony Knight might be the funniest.
Oh, that's a great answer.
The reason why is because he doesn't really. Again, I mean, you guys had a feature on him. He doesn't really talk that much. But when you finally have someone open up like how he does with the guys he's closest to, I mean, just some of the things that he does. I mean, it might be a phrase. It might be just one of the going through a hallway and him doing a little gesture, and you're just like that's just Ant. That's just Ant right there, and. It's definitely it's funny because I feel like he's the funniest guy on the team. It's just because you don't get a lot from him, but what you get from him is gold. So, I mean, it's just some of the best moments that I've had at SIU is just whether that's playing Tunk with him, at Z's in his house, and some of the comments that he makes, and they're soft-spoken, just, little catchphrases here and there. And just, he kind of has that Florida accent too, and kind of that, saying jit and all that and everything. And, he's just that it just goes, it ties into with him. I think that he's the funniest guy on the team, but definitely, I definitely think Javon might be just with the way Stone and just our connection with Javon, with him coming over by us in the quarterback room a couple of times during practice and stuff. I mean, some of this stuff is just pure comedy, and it's just like you never know what you're going to expect from him, but it's just he's just such a unique person that it's hilarious.
Our favorite. The quarterback's favorite, and especially me and Kare, our favorite thing about Javon, or what he'll do that we love, is we'll be in the middle of practice going through drills, and he'll completely botch like that drill or that play or just like whatever we're going through, just completely botch it and get yelled at, right? Be a little mad. And then a few plays later, like me and Kare will botch something, and he'll just, come on, guys, you guys got to get it together, okay? Get locked in, get your head in there, all right? And we're looking at him like, dude, you just did the same exact thing about 10 seconds ago. Why are you yelling at us? And he just does it every day. And he means it. Like, he's not even thinking about how he jacked up. He's got the good intentions. And it's just like, dude, you heard what he just said to me? That's what he just said to you 10 seconds ago. Who are you yelling at? And stuff. And it's all fun and games, but Javon's hilarious out there on the practice field.
Romir might be in that conversation too.
Romir's a sleeper pick. Romir's got a great sense of humor.
Avante's a sleeper pick, but we really can't go into conversation of reason why Avante.
Right.
But there's a handful of them. I'm not gonna lie. There's a handful of them. So
can we get each of like your Mel Kiper big boards on the funniest guys on the team? Think we can do that?
What do we got? Top 3 or 4?
I mean,
my top 4. I mean, honestly, my 4 would have to be Javon, and Romir, and I'd say Calvin. I like Calvin. They're in the top 5. And if there's a 5th one, probably Bryce. Just because Bryce is just always, I mean, it's just like, if you're in 6 a.m., if we have a work at 6 a.m. and he is able to joke around like that, it's just something different about being able to make someone laugh at like a 6 a.m. practice in 4-degree weather. So
yeah, you can hear Bryce Notary out there.
Oh yeah,
every single time.
That's my Mel Kiper big board.
I agree. No, I agree 100%.
You agree?
Yeah, I mean, I would mix the order around a little bit, but those 5 are definitely the funniest guys on our team, without a doubt.
So as far as who's going to get the point on this one, I can't get this line out of my head. Calvin Francis, if he's not your favorite player, he needs to be your favorite player.
Yes, absolutely.
I was going to say, you should give – I think Stone definitely won that one.
That's a point for Stone. That's a keeper line right there. I
love it. No, and I mean that's very true. I swear. It stinks that people don't know Cal the way they should, because I mean I'm glad we all do. I'm glad that I've met Calvin.
Would he be good on here? Should we get him on here?
Yeah. I don't know if you'd be able to handle him. He'd be all over the place. You'd need a sensor. You need something. You wouldn't be able to stop him.
I trust him. I mean, yeah, he would definitely be entertaining. I'd like to see Cal do this. I would definitely.
Same.
We'll make that happen. Score update after 6 rounds. Favorite, Stone Labanowitz. Not covering, but leading.
Not covering, but leading. Hey, I'll take it.
The score is Stone Labanowitz 4, Kare Lyles 2. All right, similar question, but I guess a little bit more serious of a tone as far as Saluki football. Who is the smartest player on the Saluki football team? We'll start with Kare.
Smartest player.
This one was tough for me as well.
Smartest player, man, I wish Jacob was still on the team because Jacob is this one. Smartest player, I would have to go with Dan Lebron. I definitely think Dan, just because you can obviously tell. I mean, you look at the academic list; he's always in the top 5, and just really what Dan does is just he understands his role and he does it in a really good job. And, you know, his role goes unnoticed sometimes, but I mean, he knows the exact amount of reps that he needs to get within a practice or within a session. He's always doing something extra. He's always doing something, but not necessarily doing something extra as far as like showing that to the coaches, you know, like, hey, I'm here doing extra, but it's like, no, it's more predicated towards skill. And I think that's the biggest thing is he's always, whether it's in the locker room, I mean, I've seen him in the locker room on Sundays at like 8 a.m. and he's getting snaps in, or it's after a workout session and he's getting snaps in the weight room. And it's just really just being that detailed with that. I mean, that position is you have to be smart. You have to understand the little details of that, because if you're not, and if you don't buy in 100%, you're gonna mess up, and it's gonna be really crucial, and it's gonna show all over. I mean, you're gonna be the one that, Like, that's the only time that you go noticed is if you make a mistake being a long snapper. So I definitely think that, both on and off the field and just how he interacts with guys too is just, I see guys who I'll consider like having someone with high intelligence are people who understand how to communicate with people who are different backgrounds. And I think that Dan has a personal relationship with everybody on the team, but he doesn't really talk that much. Again, he's one of those guys who he's really soft spoken, but at the same time, you will have a conversation with Dan when you come here at SIU. So, very appreciative of the film. And I think that he's probably just both on and off the field, in the classroom and everything. I think overall, he's probably our smartest player.
Long snapper Dan Heilbronn. Kare Lyles says he's the smartest player on the team. Stone Labanowitz, who's the smartest player on the team in your mind?
First off, I love the point that he brought up as far as like putting in extra time, not in the sight of the coaches. I think that's something Dan takes very seriously. I'm on my front porch in Aspen at my apartment, and Dan has a pair of shoulder pads and a helmet on in the front courtyard. Yep. It's like, dude, it's Saturday at like 5 p.m. What are you doing? Yep. Just getting better. He doesn't really care if the coaches are watching or not, which is good because a lot of kids, nowadays that's what they're all about, wanting to be seen and stuff. But no, Dan does it under the radar because it's all predicated towards himself. It's just about himself in a sense of getting better for the team. But no, that's a great point. But I guess my answer would be I'd probably go with the crowd pleaser, but I guess I'd have to go Keenan Agnew. He's so smart and he does things so correctly that it's just annoying. The same deal with Jeremy Chan. It was the same thing. It was just like, oh, we're going to get yelled at. Who's the example? Keenan, because he's there doing the right thing every single time. I have classes with him. I started to fall back in class and stop listening a little bit. Keenan's right here in front of the camera, just staring, just getting every note he can possibly get. And it's like, it just makes you feel bad. It makes you want to work harder. And I think that's the effect Keenan has on all of us. He's like he said with Dan in the top 5, Keenan's always right there, pissing everyone off with how smart he is and how likable he is and stuff. I'd go Keenan. I have a few classes with him. I know how hard he works. And it's probably not surprising that he's that smart or that he's one of the answers we came up with. But God, his career, whatever he's going to do, it's going to be predicated on brain power and everything like that. And he's going to bring it to the max because that's what he always does. But I go Keenan Agnew. Keenan
Agnew, predicated on brain power. Automatic win for bringing up the long snapper for Craig.
Yeah, I agree. Oh,
Dan.
So, score update, Stone Labanowitz 4, Kare Lyles 3. Got a good battle going on.
Definitely.
All right, moving on. Who has the weirdest game day superstition or routine? We will start with Stone Labanowitz.
I can't wait.
Yeah. I don't know if we necessarily have superstitions or routines, but I guess you could call this a routine. But I'd say our locker room is probably louder than it can be and should be. Chucky Sullivan, one of our defensive ends, brings in an entire DJ booth set and sets up speakers all around the locker room. And so we get after it when we can. And like we mentioned earlier, at 6 a.m., but no tree. I'm going to go with Bryce No Tree. When that music gets turned on, it don't matter what time it is on Saturday. It could be 11 o'clock when we get there. Everyone's sitting in the lockers, headphones in. Bryce just loses control. He just starts screaming, not English, just words, just mumbles coming out everywhere, and he just loses control. And he's in the locker room, and nobody really cares because it's Bryce. He does it every day. It's just how he is. But he's just completely losing control and flailing all over the place, mumbling the lyrics. It's just, you love it. He does it every single game day. It's like you just don't mess with him. Let him just kind of do his thing. He's just flopping and just mumbling the lyrics at the top of his lungs. Even Coach will walk in too. Coach Poor or somebody will walk in and be talking to a tight end. Hey, this is what we're going to do today. Gets real serious. Bryce is right behind him. Yeah, just screaming and just doesn't give a darn. And like I said, that's every Saturday. So I guess that's the routine. I'd go with Bryce. I love it. I just giggle. I got my headphones in and my music going, being normal, and just watching him. I guess it gets me a little ready too, but that's his routine. He does it all the time.
Bryce No Tree, game day flopper. Got it.
Game day flopper.
Game day flopper. Kare Lyles, who has the weirdest game day routine?
I got to go with my former roommate, Jonathan Thompson. And the reason for that is because regardless if it's home or away, you will see there's like that 90-minute stretch where you can go out in like shirt and shorts. And he goes into this corner and he has his headphones on and he's just jamming out, kind of like how Bryce is and everything. But I mean, it's like full speed DB individual work. I mean, like literally in his position, getting set, hitting the foam pads on the sidelines and everything. And
shirtless.
Yeah, shirtless. He's he's shirtless, tattoos, everything, and just going 100 miles per hour, 90 minutes prior to the game with just his shirt off and his pants on, and his padded pants on, and just going, again, 100%. And it's funny because, again, when you go back into the locker room, you have Bryce going crazy and everything, but JT has his headphones in. So JT has his headphones in, and then you'll go in, and I'm like putting my pads on and everything, and all of a sudden you just might hear him like start singing the lyrics with his headphones in.
So viciously.
So you don't know what he's listening to. It's like, I take it to the grave, every day, and it's just like, what? It's just quiet, and it's just like, well, okay, well, there's JT. He's getting hyped, but you don't know, you don't hear the beat, you don't hear anything. It's just him going pretty much, and it's like, oh, well, JT's ready, so we know that he's hyped and he's ready. Yeah. So, I mean, and he's just all over the place. I mean, it's just he's talking fast, everything. I mean, it's like he took 3 Red Bulls and has to listen to whoever artist he listens to. I mean, he's getting 6 hours of a workout in pretty much that day because, I mean, he starts from the moment we get off the bus, or the moment where last team meal is full speed, 100 miles per hour, all the time, in his headphones. You don't know what he's listening to, and he's just mumbling stuff, and it's pretty true to him because that's just how he is all the time, but I would say that it's definitely the one that you can see that kind of sets everybody apart as far as their game day rituals.
Boys, we got a tie game.
Oh.
Yes, sir.
Maybe if you saw Bryce in the locker room, I would get this point.
Kare Lyles ties it up with his 4th point. No, both my takeaway first is that the defensive guys like to stir it up. All the guys you mentioned were on defense. Chucky Sullivan, Bryce Notary, and Jonathan Thompson. And the thing that pushed it over the edge for Kare to win was that karaoke broke out in the middle of his answer with "Take It to the Grave."
Oh, yeah.
Honorable mention is Javon, though. What Javon does, he listens to, like, classical jazz. He, like, listens to, like, 70s R&B. And it's just like, hey, man, listen to what I'm listening to right here. And it's like, what are you doing?
Oh, he's definitely the guy who walks around the locker room and gives you his headphone. Like, yo, check this out. Every day. It's like, check this out. And you got to just, okay, here we go.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Those are both really good answers. All right. So this is specific to the quarterback room. This next question, it was a 3-way competition 2 years ago, and you guys put together a new room with Kare transferring in. The balance of friendship, supporting each other, and competing at the same time. How do you balance all those things all at once? Kare, we'll start with you.
I think it's just really getting to know each other. And I think that's what you've probably been hearing from, Coach Hill and Coach Rowland, they've reiterated a lot. It's just, it takes time. I mean, it really takes time to build a relationship, especially with, 6 guys who play this position you have a lot of ego to it. I mean, let's just face it. There's only one starting quarterback per team, and you have all these different things that goes into playing quarterback. There's a lot of feistiness and fire to each person. There's a lot of passion to it. There's a lot of theories of why people choose to play quarterback and everything, and you have to have intangibles. And I think all 6 of us have great intangibles. So when you get into a single meeting room like that, there's going to be things that are discussed that is going to get uncomfortable at times because we have so much self-confidence within one another, and we believe that we have what it takes to lead the team, and we all still do. And I think that's one of the biggest things too. It's just, I think that, once you find the time to see it, it's like, all of us have something that's so unique to them. And I think that's what I'm appreciative of. I'm appreciative of seeing how Stone comes to work every single day. I'm appreciative of how how he manages certain situations in practice. You know, I've learned a lot from him with that. You know, I think that he understands, you know, situational football on a really high level. And you look at Nick, you know, he had so much success going into Rochester and, you know, winning state championships. So he has a winning pedigree. You look at Zach Dabrowski, his father has a high coaching background in college. So, you know, he comes from a coaching background and coaching family. So he comes in with kind of a professionalism, but also that, you know, that bravado and that, you know, that confidence that you have within playing a quarterback. And also he played basketball as well. So he kind of has that little bit of swaggerness to him too. And you look at Jalen, who his dad is like in the Detroit Lions Ring of Honor. So, I mean, you have a kid who comes from a very successful football family as well, where his dad is, you know, one of the best to ever do it with the Detroit Lions, a professional football team. So you have all 6 of these guys, you know, coming in and coming together, and we have all their different stories, and it's how can you mesh in the same time? And I think that that's one of the biggest things that I saw was just seeing how we can take and pick each person's strengths and kind of go with it, especially with different drills that we do and everything like that, and, you know, communicating with each other and bouncing it off with one another. And you see other guys' strengths and weaknesses. And all in all, I think that's what makes all of us better is also having that competition as well. I mean, we're always competing against one another. And I think that's one of the biggest things. I mean, you look, we have this thing like a big ball drill. I mean, it's these huge like yoga balls. And Brett Johnson and Coach Rowland, you know, do their due diligence of trying to throw it at our faces and everything. And it's, you're trying to dodge that and everything. And there's, you know, there's competition with that one. There's competition with the 2-cone drill. There's competition with the 5-cone drill. We're running up and who can hit the target and everything. But it's friendly competition. It's us all, you know, bringing each other along and everything. So, you know, whoever's in each unit, we want to make sure that we're getting better as a team. That's the whole focus of playing the quarterback position is how can we get better so we can win the game and win that practice and win that situation. So I don't care. I mean, I'm going to be hyped that when Zach's out there with his guys, I'm going to be hyped when Stone's out there with his guys, with whatever unit's out there. So I think just having that camaraderie and just having that unit, and I think that we have a really, really strong, tight unit.
Stone Labanowitz, the quarterback room, the balance of friendship, being supportive of the other quarterbacks, and competing with each other at the same time. How do you manage all of that?
I think most importantly, it needs to happen naturally for it to work the right way. And I think it has. Not at first, but I mean, that's of course, right? That's what's expected, right? You got the biggest egos on the team, the biggest game changers on the team, right? Balls in our hands. So of course, you're going to get some of that, but I mean this when I say this, we've made Coach Rowland's job easier in a sense. Like he hasn't had to babysit for majority of the time. And I think that's what's the best part about it is because now it's not in his head. He gets to focus on the things that matter the most, you know, no more drama, all that kind of stuff. But it actually has happened naturally. I love how he brought up how we pick off of each other and what our special things are. I mean, I totally agree with that. But like last week or a couple days before we all came home for this break, we go over to Coach Rowland and invites us over. He always cooks us steaks every once in a while. And as soon as we walked through the door, it literally, you could have put football signs everywhere. Like we felt like we were in the meeting room and we were just hashing it out. It started right off the rip. You know, we're watching football, making fun of Big Bird, Coach Rowland and stuff. Like it just like, there's just no more animosity. Like it's so natural. And like I said, the only way it's going to work is if it's natural. And I think we've got that down to a T. I like Kare for certain reasons. I like Nick for certain reasons. I like Zach for certain reasons. Me and Nick like to play a lot of golf. Coach Rowland lives on a par 3. Anytime we're driving by, we give him a call. He comes down with his 9-iron and we swing it and play the hole. And it's like, just don't know if that's normal anywhere else. And it's normal for the right reasons for us. I do think that we've built one of the tightest groups, position groups we have. It wasn't like that at the beginning, but we've built that. And us 5 have built that. It wasn't Coach Rowland. It wasn't Coach Hill holding our hands. We kind of did it ourselves and found out, you know, where the problem was and what it was. And I think now you probably have the most organically built group, honestly, on the team. And I do take a lot of pride in that. I think it's important, especially for your quarterbacks to be that way. I think we're killing it in that department. The relationship I've built with Kare, you know, through thick and thin, you know, we've had our things, but I mean, that's kind of, like I said, what happens. And it's just flattened out. It's perfect. It just feels organic. It's natural. and we're taking care of Jalen now, our freshman, and we love him, rag on him all the time. Which of course he's going to be the punching bag. I hope he hears this. But that won't last much longer. But no, seriously, our group, I mean, I think we're killing it in that department. I seriously do.
Did you say Big Bird?
Big Bird.
I was wondering.
Big Bird.
That's your nickname for your quarterbacks coach, Blake Rowland?
I've always called him Big Bird or Pops or something, just to, and he don't have a response. You know, he just looks at me, just shut up, man. I get a kick out of it. I get a kick out of it.
That clinches the win for Stone.
I always know. What's up, Big Bird? Always.
Oh, that's amazing. All right, so
I'm not even mad about that.
Stone takes the point. Stone Labanowitz 5, Kare Lyles 4. This will be the last one about Saluki football, and then we'll close with a little bit of a bonus question. Starting with Stone, your argument for why Jeremy Chinn, rookie, former Saluki safety, in the NFL right now for the Carolina Panthers, should win Defensive Rookie of the Year. Go.
I think I got a winning argument here. I mean, this is true to its core. You mentioned, I mean, as far as like entertainment and that's what it's about, correct? I mean, that's the kind of the argument in the NBA MVP talk. You know, it's like, who's the fresh face? Who's doing all the flashy stuff? Well, if you're looking for the flashy stuff, if you want touchdowns and flair and big plays and swagger, he's bringing it to us. He just scored twice. Like, he is, if you're not that big of a football fan or you're a semi-fan, you're turning on games, like, you probably have heard the name Jeremy Chinn by now. You definitely ain't heard Isaiah Simmons or any, if you're not paying it that much of attention. He's just delivering. I mean, he delivered for us, and he's doing it at the biggest stage. Like I said, you want the flashy stuff. He's literally giving it to us. There are the highlight tapes, the little mixed tapes with the raps behind them. Like, we're all reposting them on our Twitters, and like, I don't see it for the other guys. Like, he's kind of delivering what I don't even know if I want to say we expected it. You know, I think we expected a little glimmer of it, but he's giving it to us. He's scoring touchdowns. He's got the swagger. He's killing the interviews. He's getting talked about by Pat McAfee and Tyrann Mathieu and all these guys. And I just think he's just like, I keep using the word delivering, but he is delivering more than any of the other rookies out there. Carolina, that whoever runs the social media account cannot stop posting about him. It's just every other post, it's Jeremy Chinn. It's like, gosh, you guys didn't even show him this much and stuff like that, or talk about him this much. But no, he's shining bright. I mean, he's shining bright. I mean, the first touchdown was given to him, but he went and got that second touchdown. He went and straight up took that ball from him and put it in the end zone. That's Troy Polamalu stuff. That, you know, I mean, like, that's stuff that not many young guys are supposed to be doing. So I think he's shining bright, and I think that's probably why he should win Defensive Rookie of the Year.
Jeremy Chinn, the entertainment value is high, says Stone Labanowitz. Kare Lyles, why should Jeremy Chinn win Defensive Rookie of the Year? By the way, this is to keep the game alive.
I know. Keep the game alive.
Stone can clinch a victory if you don't answer this one well.
You look at Chinn's skill set. I mean, it's just so unique, right? I mean, he has the size, the speed, and all that athletic ability. But I think the biggest thing that, you know, everybody harped on when he was here is just he was so consistent. He was so smart and so consistent. And I think that's the biggest thing when you look into that and play into being a defensive player of the year. And you look at getting an accolade like that, right, is you make the relevant plays, you make the splash plays, but you also make the consistent plays to keep the team going, to get someone in a position to win. And I think that's what you see from Chinn every single day. Again, I think their media department does a great job with showing him, but at the same time, he's the one that's doing the performance. He's the one that's consistently out there making plays like that. He's the one that's consistently grading out as one of the top defensive players, defensive rookies in NFL each and every single week. And, you know, one of the things that kind of shocked me a little bit is just that he's played every single game. I mean, this is his first year. I mean, they talked about it. This is his first year where he's played 11 straight games. So really just being out there every single week, I don't think the other defensive guys can even say that. So you have the longevity of it. You have the guy who's the most durable. You have the guy who's making the most splash plays. You have the guy who, you know, made a historical, thing where he scored 2 defensive touchdowns in 2 consecutive plays. I mean, he's the only person in NFL history to do that. So you do that, he grades out. You see the PFF rankings every single week. He grades out as one of the top top defensive players every single week. And, but at the same time, he's still making those consistent plays. And you look at all the guys on his team, you look at the veterans on his team, it's like he gives his all every single day, and he comes with the right mindset and attitude. And that's what you want from a player. I would say more so, I think what you see when in the game of football, it's not the guys who always make the splash plays, but it's always the guys who are always in the right place at the right time. And he does that naturally. I mean, that's natural to him. That's a given. So for him to do that on top of making these plays who now are, going on the internet, going all around ESPN and everything, as well as, I think this is just the icing on the cake, he's coming from an FCS program. All these other guys he's going against, Blackman, he went to Utah, Chase Young, he went to Ohio State and all that. It just goes to show it's what he put out and all the work that he's put in and all he's accomplished. It shows that you can do it from any level of football. And I think that should kind of play into it as well. I mean, who would have thought that, honestly, the offensive rookie of the year might be the guy for Illinois State. So I mean, you look at these two guys, right? They both come from the Missouri Valley Conference, and both are Mr. consistent with both sides of the ball. So you just look at that, and they're making all these plays, they're leading the league and doing all these different things. I think that just what sets him apart is, especially with the fact that, he's durable as well.
The conference office has cast their vote for Kare Lyles. plugging James Robinson and Jeremy Chin to win NFL awards as rookies. That's well done. That was it was coming down to the wire there late in the comment, but I think that sealed it. Let's go to overtime.
Nice.
Oh God! So this is the one.
Let's go to overtime. After 10 questions, Stone Labanowitz 5, Kare Lyles 5.
Oh yeah.
And it all comes down to one topic. You guys know what's coming. It could last a while. I feel like you both have written thesis on this already.
I've actually done school projects on this one. Okay, I'm there.
You
all
have.
The way.
So there's actual empirical research that's been done
literally
on this topic. All right, you guys know what's coming. Michael Jordan versus LeBron James. Of course, this was a heated topic this summer when The Last Dance was going on, and Michael Jordan was getting hyped up on the ESPN 30 for 30. Let's start with who should we start with? How about this? You guys you can go back and forth. You each get 2 chances to answer. You can go back and forth, and since we're in overtime, we'll make an exception for that. So first, we'll go with Stone, and you have 30 seconds to a minute. Michael Jordan versus LeBron James. Who you got?
Let's keep it simple. What's the question? What are we asking? Who's the better basketball player? You know what I mean? Who's the better basketball player? Like, who plays the best basketball? Not who's checked all the boxes and done all that extra stuff. No, who can hoop the best? LeBron plays 1 through 5. I'm going to start with that. LeBron plays 1 through 5. He can run the point. He can play center. Jordan wouldn't get a rebound if he played the 5 spot. Like, if we're talking about tools and his skill set, he's literally a 5-tool player. That on top of, this is my second favorite one, and I also think the second strongest one, is level of competition. I can't stand watching highlights in the 80s and 90s. They're like black and white highlights. The dudes are just now starting to wear the cool shoes that help them jump and run. And you can't tell me that John Hornacek is going to guard LeBron James.
Okay, Stone Labanowitz coming in strong with the first one. Kare Lyles, your answer to MJ not being able to play 1 through 5. Who's better, Michael Jordan or LeBron James? I'm guessing you're siding with Michael Jordan.
Well, I want to slide. I'm not going to talk about the whole 1 through 5 thing because that's irrelevant. I mean, that's irrelevant. The greatest basketball player of all time. When you're thinking about the greatest basketball player of all time, is what is the whole purpose of playing basketball? Is get the ball in the hoop. And he showed at a dominance from right from his rookie year that he was dominant all the way through for 14 years. Again, you look at every single statistical category in scoring, he's the top one. He's top 1 or 2, and it's just pure dominance. And if you're talking about 1 through 5, well, I think it's scoring and defense. And if you look at all the defensive accolades, Jordan has upper edge over LeBron. So you can't say that as far as if you're talking about pure dominance and just takeover within the game as far as that. But again, we're going back to what is the whole thing about being an athlete? It's the entertainment value. I think it's more entertaining to have this guy who has the scoring title almost every single year, over 75% of the time that he's played in the NBA. He had the scoring title, as well as winning 3 straight, then retiring, and then winning 3 straight again. I think that's just entertainment in itself.
Don't end it like that, because the answer to that is LeBron. You want to talk about entertainment value? Show me another 18-year-old boy in English 4 class who's ready to come dunk on people in his first game and scored over 20 points in his first NBA game. I mean, entertainment value. Look, Jordan made the NBA cool. Why? Because it wasn't cool. Because nobody was good. He came on the scene and made it cool and made basketball relevant. LeBron he's literally the chosen one. We haven't seen a LeBron. I think we haven't seen a Jordan either, but we really haven't seen a LeBron. Like, as far as specimen goes, like, Jordan was the icon and everything, but he passed the baton off and LeBron lapped him. I mean, sorry, just entertainment value is a tough argument, because like I said, Jordan made basketball cool. Nice. What does that mean? That it wasn't cool. LeBron was able to come into the league as an 18-year-old kid, which only Kobe was able to do. And it's like, put that in perspective. He's in English 4 class. Like, he is still learning how to put together like sentences and predicates and whatever that stuff. And he's playing basketball in the NBA. Nobody's been able to do that. Nobody will ever do that. He's old. He's played longer than anybody. You want to talk about him being first or second in statistics? Who's the first? LeBron. LeBron has bypassed all of Jordan's statistics, and it's going to get uglier because he's got probably 6 more seasons left. I just think it's dominant. Yeah. Okay, let me go about his longevity. He is playing longer. Why? Because Jordan couldn't. Everything got to Jordan. Like I said, he was the first one to really do it. LeBron hasn't swayed anywhere. He hasn't done anything wrong. I mean, I don't want to go for the cheap lane, gambling and all that kind of stuff, but LeBron literally hasn't done anything wrong. He's opened up a school of social justice. It's just like I said, he passed LeBron off the baton, and it's been over ever since. I think it's just tough to argue.
I just don't know. You can be the greatest of your sport at the highest level of, being in NBA finals, and the second best player in the league beat you 2 straight years. And both of those years have a highlight of him draining a 3 pull-up during the crucial minutes of each game. That pretty much solidified. I
think that talks to the level of competition that there is nowadays. Jordan on a bad night was still the best player in the league. LeBron on a bad night is the worst player on the court because of so many dudes can play ball now.
I don't think you can say that it's the level of competition, because I think the only thing that really that changed was kind of just probably the strength training in basketball. But at the same time, it's not. Okay. You're just talking about dominance within the era. But then Jordan had strength training going into the 1998 season and later on in his years. So they had that. There was evolution of basketball and just weightlifting in general. I mean, you say that, and I mean, I know that people like to correlate the whole, the greatest of all time in NFL and greatest of all time in NBA. And, you look at Tom Brady, it's the reason why they say it's Tom Brady and not someone like an Aaron Rodgers or someone like that is it pure dominance, getting your team to the highest level and winning at that stage. And I think that if LeBron James was the greatest of all time, there shouldn't be really any excuses, because like you said he can play 1 through 5 on the court, and he's the most dominant physical specimen in NBA history. I
guess this would be my last jab I'll throw, but this is serious question, serious point. If Jordan goes out on a Wednesday night and they're playing whoever, and Jordan's has a bad first half, a terrible first half, the Bulls are still in that game. They can still win that game. He just has to, adjust and come back and play better. Now, if LeBron James, against anybody in today's league, has a terrible first half, they will get smoked by 30. It just talks to, we talk about valuable, because there's just a higher competition, there's better players in the league. Just think, if we're talking about most valuable player, I love that most valuable thing. Are you kidding me? Like if you take LeBron James off of that Cleveland team, they don't win any games. You take Jordan off of that I don't know what year it was team, they won one less game and stuff like that. You take LeBron off any team, they don't go to the playoffs. The Lakers, he stopped midway through the season, won them like 22 games, and then bailed out, and they didn't even make the playoffs. You needed to win like 20 more games than like 60. So it's like, how can you even talk value if literally the team can't compete without one player? Like how when you have other Hall of Famers sitting next to you and they take you all the she's so much more valuable than Michael Jordan to any team he's ever been on.
So it's funny you said that, but I remember when in one of our final quarterback meetings, I asked you this, and don't swear on me now, but I asked you one game, who are you picking?
Oh, I said Michael Jordan.
Exactly. So that's
just 60 minutes. That's just 60. That's just.
If you were to put money,
don't take that, Connor. That's cheating. He's cheating with that. That's not even fair at all. Listen, here's why. Okay. Now, don't just do that to me. Here's why. Because if 60 minutes you need a killer, if 60 minutes you need to go score points, it's just one game. Yeah, you just go trust the killer for one game. He's gonna get it done. But he won't.
Basketball.
But of course, there's not. But what season? What season is one game? What season is one game? He plays all the time, all season. Game 7. You can go Game 7. You gotta get to a Game 7. LeBron's gonna. The Game 7 statistics speak for themselves. LeBron James is the best Game 7 basketball player of all time. I can't believe you went there. That is the Hail Mary talk.
You're saying, hold on. You're saying you're putting your livelihood on the line. Boom. You are putting your livelihood on all the money in the world, and you're putting that on that one game. You just said Jordan. How are you going to do that when you're saying the other guys are greatest of all time? You're advocating for
there's 82 games in a season. A series is 7 game long. You have 7 games in a series. You have 82 games in a season. I'm talking about one.
Advocate that strong for LeBron, but then if it's just in this pure situation of playing basketball, the game of basketball, one game, playing the game of basketball, and you don't pick your boy, I think that's smart. That's just a business decision. Which is crazy is because if you look at a season, Jordan has played more 82-game seasons. So it's like even the whole season thing is my end too. Now, if we're talking about, hey, you know what? Who are you picking to go 20 years of playing basketball? It's not going to be Jordan. It's going to be.
And how can you say that and then side with Tom Brady? That's like the Tom Brady and Jordan don't go together. If that's your argument, because it is about the longevity. Like Aaron Rodgers is probably a better quarterback in aspects of arm talent, mobility, being able to extend plays and everything. Well, that's the same thing as I think being a 5-tool player in basketball. Like the question is, who's the best player, not like the best athlete or best basketball athlete or best football athlete, because sure, the best football athlete is Tom Brady, the best basketball athlete is Michael Jordan, but the best quarterback and basketball player is Aaron Rodgers and LeBron James.
You just made my point. You just made my point. It's not about the best athlete, it's about the best basketball player. You just made
and if we're talking about basketball, it's point guard, it's shooting guard, it's power, it's freaking center. He can play all 5 spots. Jordan can.
Jordan is the best at basketball to ever putting it.
No, he's not. He's not. If this is how we're going to do this with me, no, he's not. We're done. No, he's not. It's not a good argument, so we're done, I guess, because I can't come at you with, no, he's not. Nuh-uh.
Time. I could have cut that off like 5 minutes ago. That was that was better than the Mike Tyson exhibition over the weekend.
Yeah, it was.
That was a lot better. There's a lot to unpack for me to judge that one. There's a lot to unpack there. And here's where my bias comes into play, being from Chicago. Before you roll your eyes, hear me out. I mean, I'm just letting you know there's some bias there, being from Chicago.
That is a setup. I didn't know from Chicago.
I didn't make my decision yet.
Okay.
I didn't make my decision yet. Throwing the jab at Jeff Hornacek hurt too.
Who is he guarding? Like, who are you putting him on? If he's Damian Lillard will spin him silly. Like, it's just, I can't believe it. We don't even have a Jeff Hornacek in the league anymore. It's like Della Nova. He's like, we don't even have one of those guys playing basketball. But sorry.
Jeff Hornacek, a proud graduate of Lyons Township High School, my alma mater, and that was a dagger to my heart that you went after him. But the 1 game versus 82 thing and the 1 through 5 thing was intriguing to me, and I think true. If you're talking about a time period where you're talking about the greatest of all time, then it's about the longer scope rather than just the 1 game. So I'm with you. I'm with you there, Stone. But I'm still conflicted because of the Chicago thing. I don't know. The loyalty. I'm not picking LeBron or MJ, but I'm picking Stone's argument.
Yeah! Oh, God. Yeah, I was a little nervous. You had me a little nervous there. I didn't think out of 11 questions, a 2.5-point spread was fair to me. But I'll take the win any way I can get it. I did get nervous when it was 5-5 because a lot of the guys don't want to side with LeBron. And you didn't side with LeBron. You sided with the argument, so you did the right thing. But I squeaked out of there. I squeaked out of it. I'm fine. I'll do my little victory lap in silence. I don't got no gloating here. That was awesome. I loved what we just did. Honestly, we killed it.
You're 1-0. The people who had their pennies on Kare are also 1-0 because he covered.
So it's just not an uncut gems moment. Where...
I love it.
Well, guys, thanks for doing this. This was fun. I'm not surprised it went this long, by the way.
Absolutely.
This is literally a first take show right here. Boom. We just covered that.
I appreciate it.